Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, students. How are you good today? Great, thank you. I hope you guys are in good condition as well. So, before we start our lesson this morning, I need the chairman to lead our morning prayers before start the lesson. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Thank you. So, before our lesson this morning, I'll check your attendance one by one. So I check it whether one of you might not come in this morning. So I'll begin with students number one. Okay, it looks like none of you is absent today, so we're good to go. So as we discussed the last week about kinds of text, which we'll continue in this morning. So I'll need to remind you about what kinds of the text in English literature. So the first one is narrative text. The second one is recount text. The third one is report text. The fourth one is description text, and the last one, the fifth one, is procedure text. So since we are talking about the first text is narrative text, last week as an introduction in this morning lesson, um, I'll need to check your um, understand in the last week about the narrative text. So, is anyone can share their opinions or remember what I said in the last meeting about the narrative text? Students? Okay, please. Okay, correct. The narrative text is a fictional text created based on imagination, which is it is not fictional and it is created to entertain people. So, anyone knows the form? Okay, please. Right, correct. So the narrative text is in form of sequential events that lead to a climax and then finally ended by the solution. Or I can say that it is a closing in the story. So basically, as a conclusion, the narrative text is a fictional story created for an entertainment purpose and which is aimed to entertain the reader. So, as I said before, the form of the this text itself is a sequential events started from the introduction of the characters and settings of times, places, and other things, and then followed to climax and ended by a solution from the protagonist of the story. So after we're talking about the narrative text, there are generic structures that make this text of narrative as a whole complete text. So anyone remember about last week the generic structure of this narrative text? Okay, please. Yes, correct. It is orientation, complication, and resolution. So what is meant by orientation? Orientation is where the story begins, where the characters introduce the introduction of setting of times, introduction of setting of place, and how the story would start and how the story would progress. The next is complication, where the protagonist starts the conflict in their life within the story. So the last one is resolution. So resolution means that it is the solution for the protagonist's conflict that leads to an ending within the story. So after we're talking about the generic structures, we also need to consider some characteristics that build this narrative text is as a fictional story or fictional text. So does anyone know what is the characteristics of the narrative text? No? Okay, I'll mention it. Then I need to remember this. So the first one is this narrative text is made from or it's structured in the form of simple past tense or past tense. As a conclusion, the whole story happens in form of past events. For example, like in simple present tense, we use go. If we want to write a narrative text, the go change into the verb to is when. Or another example is walk, walk, walk in the first verb, and the second verb is changed into walked. So anything else happen is in the past event. So the next characteristic is that it consists of noun to represent certain nouns such as people, animals, things, and others. The third one is the narrative text use time connections and connective such as once upon a time, long ago, uh, once upon a time, and so other things. The last one, the last characteristic is that the narrative text use adverb and adverbial phrase. So to make a better understand, I need you to watch the video in the front so that your knowledge is completely whole about the narrative text. So okay, I think it's clear to watch the video. So our next activity is that I'll divide you into 6 groups consist of 5 students. um, we will make a short narrative text that based from your group's imaginations, and I'll give you 20 minutes to work in groups. So the time is yours. Okay, I think you guys already mentioned your group stories or text. So as the last activity this lesson today, I'll give you assignment individuals. The assignment is that you need to make a short narrative text individually and will be submitted in the next meeting. So I think that's all for today. That your understanding is well about the narrative text, and I hope you are clear, you are understand about today's topic about narrative text. So I think that's all, and see you in the next week. And assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.